I saw every tear you shed. Nothing escaped my eyes, even those you tried to hide so as not to worry anyone. I was there when you took a deep breath to avoid falling apart. I was by your side when the silence seemed to scream inside you. I know the weight you carried in moments when no one noticed the battle you were fighting inside. Every pain that pierced your chest was recorded by me, and none of them were ignored. I saw when you tried to be strong for everyone, while inside you just wanted a place where you could rest without fear. I saw when you smiled on the outside, but inside there was a weariness that didn't know where to find rest. I know the nights you felt invisible, asking only for a sign that it would all make sense. I heard your whisper when no one else did. I felt the tightness in your chest when you thought there was no way out. I know every detail of what you lived through, from the thought you couldn't express to the pain that no one ever knew how to decipher. Nothing escaped me's notice. You were never alone, even when you believed you were walking in the dark. I carried you in moments when your strength could no longer sustain even your own steps. Today I bring this word not to reopen wounds, but to show you that each one had meaning. Nothing you faced was in vain. Nothing that hurt you escaped my attention. I gathered each tear like seeds that now begin to change the story ahead of you. Do not think that I let you suffer without purpose. I was shaping your strength, deepening your roots, preparing your spirit for what I have already determined for you. Each moment of pain was soil that I myself fertilized so that something greater could germinate. I know that many times you thought I was distant, too silent, as if I had left you to face everything alone. But I was in the silence too. I was supporting you when you thought you were falling apart. I was there between each racing heartbeat, reminding you to keep going, even when it seemed impossible. You didn't see it, but I fought battles that never reached you. I saved you from paths that would have hurt you even more. I protected you from decisions that seemed good, but would have led you to chaos. Now I come to tell you, I have seen everything. I know everything. And I am here to transform everything. Pain will not be the final chapter of your story. Tears will not be your identity. The weight you felt will not be what defines you. I am reorganizing what seemed lost. I am putting back together broken internal pieces, and I am lighting lights in places where you only saw darkness. You no longer need to hide the pain you feel. I know it deeply, and it is precisely that depth that I will restore. Before you doubt, let me say more. I don't judge you for what you felt. I don't reject you for the times you thought about giving up. I don't push you away for the moments when you didn't know how to pray. I welcome you completely, with every part of what you have already lived. And I receive you exactly as you are. Because I don't look at you for what circumstances have made you seem. I look at you for what I have already determined you will be. There is beauty in you that you haven't yet seen. There is strength in you that you haven't yet realized. There is purpose in you that you haven't yet understood. And now, as this word reaches your heart, I invite you to make a simple act of faith to seal all that I am revealing to you. Comment now with one word that represents what you want me to restore in you. I am here, and I will continue to be here. I saw every tear, and I will honor each and every one of them. Nothing you experienced was ignored by me. Every step you took, every attempt you made to continue, every time you decided to get up even without strength. All of that I saw and recorded in the deepest part of my eternal memory. Nothing escaped my eyes. What seemed to you like loss, delay, or emptiness, to me was always part of a larger design, one that your eyes could not yet comprehend. I was present when you believed you were failing, and I held your story even when you no longer felt there was any story to continue. I know that many of your questions arose from pain, from a sense of injustice, from doubt about why certain things happened. But today, I tell you clearly, nothing was in vain. Each situation shaped something in you. Each challenge established strength where there was once fragility. Each desert opened space for a kind of faith that is only born when the soul needs to learn to trust beyond the visible. I did not waste any part of your journey. Even what hurt you was transformed into preparation. Even what brought you down served as a foundation for your next construction. I know you didn't understand when doors closed before you. I know you felt life was pushing you back while the people around you seemed to move forward. I know you longed for quick answers, immediate changes, clear and direct signs. But during the time you thought I was silent, I was working meticulously, aligning paths, diverting dangers, sustaining what you were not yet mature enough to receive. My presence never depended on your perception. Even when you didn't feel me, I remained there. Now I reveal to you that many of the pains you experienced were not punishments, but protections. You think you missed opportunities, when in fact, I freed you from traps disguised as promises. You lamented relationships that ended, without knowing that I preserved you from alliances that would destroy your peace. You cried over doors that closed, without realizing that the door that truly belongs to you could never be closed by human hands. Everything that left your life left for a purpose. Everything that remained, remained because it lays the foundation for what is to come. I want you to understand something profound. I never let you walk in circles. You were being strengthened. You were being prepared. You were being refined to carry things greater than you imagined. What seemed like stagnation was grounding. What seemed like delay was protection. What seemed like silence was strategy. You didn't waste time. No time was shattered, wasted, or taken from you. Time was investment. Time was cultivation. Time was soil being prepared. Therefore, when you look back, you will realize that all the pieces fit together. You will understand that the people who hurt you had no authority to define your identity. You will see that the difficult times were not dead ends, but bridges that led you to this moment. Nothing was lost. Nothing was damaged. Nothing escaped my control. Even what seemed irreparable, I was already restoring from within before you even realized it. And because this message reaches you now, I invite you to become an instrument of healing for someone who also feels that the pain they have experienced is meaningless. Share this message so that another heart may discover that nothing it has experienced has been ignored by me. Now get ready. You are about to see purpose where before you only saw pain. I am revealing what I have always been silently building. I am beginning a new cycle for you. A cycle that does not depend on circumstances, your strength, or the opinion of those who underestimated you. This new time is born from my will, born from my decree, born from what I myself wrote for your story before you existed. What was closed begins to move. What was still begins to flow. What seemed dead begins to breathe again. It is not imagination. It is not a passing emotion. It is not a coincidence. It is my spirit breathing newness upon everything that had become heavy, worn out, or too silent within you. I know you've grown accustomed to expecting little, to preparing for disappointments, to putting your heart on the defensive so as not to get hurt again. I know you've locked away your dreams because you believed the time to try had already passed. But I come to tell you that there is no delay when change comes from me. What I determine arrives neither early nor late. It arrives at the exact moment when your heart is ready to receive without losing. And you have reached that moment. Even without realizing it, even without understanding, even thinking you lacked the strength, you have advanced to the point where transformation becomes inevitable. I am opening pathways within you before opening pathways before you. I am relieving old burdens, breaking emotional stains, undoing internal chains that prevented your vision from seeing what I have always had prepared. I am restoring parts of you that have broken in profound silences. I am returning hope where you no longer believed it was possible for something new to flourish. This cycle begins first within you, like a light that begins to ignite in the soul, and then manifests in your life, in your relationships, in your choices, in the opportunities that will come. Don't think this new season is about human merit. It's about divine faithfulness. I saw your struggle. I saw how much you persevered even when you were tired. I saw your heart trying to remain whole when everything told you to give up. I didn't ignore your efforts. But this new cycle isn't about reward. It's about care. It's about love poured out. It's about a promise being fulfilled. It's about restoration arriving like gentle rain on dry land. And you will begin to notice small signs. Peace where there was restlessness. Clarity where there was confusion. Strength where there was weariness. Direction where everything seemed hazy. What you have experienced will not be repeated. That phase is over. The old cycle is no longer allowed to govern your days. You are not returning to what you were before. You are moving forward to something completely different. I am repositioning you emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. There are invitations arriving, changes happening, decisions being realigned by me. None of this is by chance. It is the invisible movement of my spirit guiding your steps with purpose. And as this new cycle takes hold, I ask only one thing of you. Remain. Don't rush impatiently. Don't retreat in fear. Don't sabotage yourself because you think you don't deserve to experience something good. You deserve it because I have decided you deserve it. You belong to what I am building. Trust the process that is being born within you. The change has already begun and will continue to expand until it touches every area of your life. Now, as a simple gesture of agreement with what I am releasing upon you, like and subscribe as a sign that you choose to remain in this new cycle that I am beginning. I am beginning something that cannot be stopped, and you will walk within it with my hand upon you. I allowed some pain to strengthen you, not because I wanted to see you suffer, but because there were capacities within you that would only flourish when life pushed you to places where you needed to discover who you truly were within me. Many times you believed you were being crushed, but in reality, you were being molded. The pressure you felt wasn't meant to destroy you. It was to reveal a resilience you didn't know you possessed. I saw when you didn't understand what was happening, when you thought you were being punished, when you tried to find logic in what seemed completely confusing. But I was there, accompanying each process, holding each part of you that threatened to break, and ensuring that, even at the limit, you didn't lose yourself. There were times when you asked me to take away the pain immediately. There were days when your soul felt too heavy to continue, and you even thought you couldn't bear it. But I looked at you and said within myself, there is still something to be formed. There is still something to be strengthened. Not because you were weak, but because you needed to grow in areas you never imagined. The pain, however difficult it may have been, amplified your sensitivity, deepened your faith, and tore open spaces within you to accommodate more of my presence. None of your pain was wasted. It did not enter your life without being filtered by my hand. I allowed only enough to transform you, never to destroy you. I know that many times you asked me, why? And while your tears soaked the pillow, I remained silent, not because I was distant, but because some answers needed to be revealed at the right time. If I had explained it to you before, you wouldn't have understood. If I had spared you everything, you wouldn't have grown. If I had alleviated every suffering the moment you asked, you wouldn't have discovered the strength you now carry. I ensured that the pain wouldn't exceed your capacity. I ensured that situations wouldn't crush you more than necessary. I ensured that, even wounded, you wouldn't give up on life. Pain was not punishment. Pain was not abandonment. Pain was not rejection on my part. Pain was fertile ground. Each challenge opened space for new understandings, new perceptions, new ways of seeing yourself and seeing me. With pain, you learned to value what once seemed commonplace. With pain, you discovered that you can continue even when you believe you have no more energy. With pain, you realized that you don't depend on circumstances to be loved by me. And no one can take this learning away from you. It has become part of your structure, part of the foundation that will support everything I will still build in your life. I saw you grow without realizing it. I saw your faith withstand what seemed impossible. I saw you make decisions that hurt, but were necessary. I saw you choose not to give up. And all of that touched me deeply. You walked through dark nights without knowing I was illuminating every step. You weathered storms without noticing I was holding your hand. You stood tall when many would have fallen, and I honor you for that. Not because you needed to prove anything to me, but because you became stronger than you imagined. Now that you have overcome what once seemed unbearable, I can reveal something to you clearly. Nothing you have faced will be in vain. All the suffering you have endured will be transformed into maturity, discernment, and wisdom. You are stronger, deeper, more sensitive, more prepared. And all this because, in the midst of pain, you were molded by my own hands. This step wasn't meant to punish you. It was meant to prepare you. And you're ready for what comes next. Your tears were prophetic seeds. Each one fell from your face like something you wished you hadn't experienced. But in my eyes, they became seeds sown in soil I myself prepared. You thought you were only crying from pain, but you were planting hope. You thought you were only collapsing, but you were watering something you couldn't yet see. No tear fell by chance. No tear fell without purpose. I gathered each one as one guards precious treasures, because everything you feel deeply has meaning in my heart. The tears you judged as weak were, in truth, the language of your soul speaking to me. I saw when you hid to cry, because you were ashamed to show your vulnerability. I saw when you couldn't contain your emotion and let the pain overflow in the presence of people who didn't know what you were carrying. I saw when you cried silently, trying not to wake anyone, trying not to worry anyone, trying not to admit that the exhaustion was greater than it seemed. But every tear you tried to hide shone before me. You never cried alone. You never fell apart without me holding the pieces together. And now, I tell you something you may never have considered. Your tears have germinated. While you thought you were only suffering, a spiritual process was taking place. Tears are seeds because they are born from places that words cannot reach. They carry depth, sincerity, surrender. They reveal what you fear, what you hope for, what you have lost, what you desire. And that which is born from the truth of the heart becomes raw material for the miracles I prepare. Therefore, nothing was lost, nothing was wasted, everything was transformed. Many times you thought you cried out of weakness, but I tell you, you cried out of sensitivity, out of love, out of wounded faith that still insisted on living. There is strength in those who can feel. There is maturity in those who allow their soul to speak. You grew while you cried, because you allowed the pain to create space for me to act. The crying did not diminish your dignity, did not take away your value, did not make you less. On the contrary, it made you deeper, more human, more attentive to what really matters. I watered those tears with my own presence. While you cried, I was working. I was organizing answers you didn't yet understand. I was aligning encounters, opening possibilities, protecting paths, preparing turning points that would only make sense later. Nothing you cried over will be just a bitter memory. It will be a living testament to what I built when you believed you were only crumbling. Your tears today speak of harvest. Your tears today announce change. Your tears today carry a promise. And if you could see what is being released now, you would understand why those nights were necessary. The harvest that is approaching is greater than the losses you felt. The joy that is coming is deeper than the pain that wounded you. What I am preparing is so vast, so full of purpose, so aligned with who you are, that every tear will have been worth it. You did not cry in vain. You cried to open paths. And as this word touches your soul, I invite you to seal what I am doing. Comment 77777 as a sign that you recognize your tears had a purpose. Your tears have sown the seeds of the future that I am about to reveal. You cannot imagine how close you are to seeing the birth of that which you wept for. I accelerate processes you don't see. While you believed nothing was happening, I was moving pieces your eyes couldn't reach. Your waiting was never empty. Your stillness was never abandonment. Your feeling that everything was at a standstill never reflected what was truly happening in the invisible realm. There are things you will only understand now because before, your heart wasn't yet ready to receive them. But I tell you, while you cried, I acted. While you asked, I prepared. While you thought you were alone, I aligned paths that would completely change the course of your story. You looked at your life and thought you were behind schedule, that time was passing too quickly, and that nothing was moving in your favor. But I work at a different speed. What seems like a long time to you is strategy for me. I haven't lost control. I haven't lost my rhythm. I haven't lost my direction. I have simply guided you along the path where your faith would be strengthened, while I built, invisibly, that which will now begin to manifest before you. Every door that seemed closed was being reshaped to open at the right moment. Every opportunity that didn't arise was being transformed into something greater. You have no idea how many times I've saved you from advances that would have cost you your peace. I've held back situations you desired, but that would have led you down paths of weariness and frustration. I've prevented encounters that seemed promising, but had roots of destruction. I've slowed down things you wanted to rush, because if I had allowed it, your heart wouldn't have been ready to sustain what came next. My care for you is greater than your haste. And that's why, many times, I seem to take my time. But I'm never late. Now, I lift the veil that concealed what was being prepared. Connections are being accelerated. Answers that have been stuck for years are beginning to move. Opportunities you thought you'd lost are returning in a completely transformed form. Doors are opening sooner than expected. Deliverances are happening silently, removing obstacles you never imagined facing. What was static is beginning to gain momentum. What seemed lifeless is beginning to pulsate. What was silent is beginning to emit signals that the time for change has arrived. I am accelerating emotional processes, healing wounds that previously took months, now in days. I am accelerating spiritual processes, releasing discernment, clarity, vision. I am accelerating external processes. The right people are coming closer. Environments are reorganizing. Paths are realigning. All of this is happening simultaneously because I have decided that now is the time for change. You are not in the same place where you were. You are in transition. And even if you don't see it yet, you are already moving to a completely new place. Don't be confused by the lack of external signs. The acceleration begins within. First, I adjust the soul. Then, I adjust the environment. First, I strengthen your identity. Then, I place you where it can flourish. First, I cleanse old pains. Then, I open doors to new experiences. Nothing is by chance. Nothing is improvised. Nothing happens outside of my order. You are entering a phase where you will look back and realize that during the time you thought you were standing still, you were being repositioned. Acceleration doesn't begin with noise. It begins with purpose. And I tell you, purpose is activated. And because there are others who also need to understand that I work in the invisible, even in silence, share this message with someone who needs to remember that my acceleration has already begun within him as well. Get ready. What was slow will now work in your favor. What seemed distant is rapidly approaching. I am accelerating processes you never imagined you would see happen. The new cycle isn't just arriving, it has already begun. You are no longer in the same place you were, no longer living through the same season that surrounded you for so long. Something is changing now as this word touches your spirit. It's as if a door you didn't know where it was has finally been opened by me, and you begin to feel the gentle breeze of a time that once seemed unattainable. The new cycle is not a distant promise, not a deferred hope, not something you need to anxiously await. It is present. It is now. It is already operating within you even before it manifests around you. I began with your soul. I began with your inner self. The change you so desperately sought began in the deepest place where no one sees, where only I have access. You will realize, little by little, that your way of thinking is aligning with what I am revealing. The old pains no longer govern your feelings as before. The feeling of heaviness begins to lose its power. The fear that once paralyzed you begins to diminish in the face of what I am activating within you. The new cycle has already arrived because I have already released it, and everything I release cannot be interrupted. You no longer need to fight as you did before. You no longer need to defend yourself as if everything were a threat. You no longer need to fear that what is good will go away, or that you will be negatively surprised. What I am building now is not fragile. It is not momentary. It does not depend on the mood of circumstances. It is solid. It is secure. It is sustained by my will. You can breathe deeper because your life is entering a phase where what I do will be stronger than anything they tried to stop you from living. Perhaps you still can't clearly see the external changes. Perhaps things around you seem the same. But I tell you, nothing is the same. When I change a spiritual cycle, the physical world only takes a moment to catch up. The invisible always moves first. What you have carried for so long as a silent struggle is being replaced by new strength. What seemed trapped is being unlocked. What seemed distant is drawing closer. What seemed impossible is being rearranged to fit into your story. You will feel this in different ways. In conversations that bring you clarity, in thoughts that were once heavy and now become light, in decisions that were once impossible and now flow naturally. You will notice that doors begin to respond to your touch. People begin to appear as answers. Paths begin to align effortlessly. You are not imagining it. It is the new cycle revealing itself. What once required strength will now only require positioning. The time of fighting wearily is ending. The time of moving forward, strengthened, is beginning. I am rearranging opportunities. I am clearing up internal confusion. I am putting you back where you should always have been. Much of what you lost will be returned in a different way, more mature, more solid. Much of what you asked for and did not receive was being saved for this moment. And now, I say, you are ready to live the new. You are prepared for what once frightened you. You are ready for what you prayed so much for, but could not have sustained before. And because you chose to stay, even without understanding, now I allow you to enter. Enter into what is new. Walk with confidence. Feel the light air of this time. Let your heart rest in the fact that you no longer need to try to do alone what I have already begun to accomplish in your favor. As a sign of agreement with the cycle I am activating now, like and subscribe as a spiritual gesture of remaining in what I am releasing over your life. The new cycle isn't coming. It's already begun, and you're in it. Doors will naturally open before you, not because you will be stronger than before, but because I myself will be moving what previously seemed immovable. There are situations that have long resisted, blocked, limited, and even paralyzed your steps. But now the resistance that surrounded you begins to yield. It is not human effort. It is not human strategy. It is not weary insistence. It is divine intervention. It is my breath adjusting what was misaligned. It is my hand unlocking what seemed definitive. When I decide to open a door, no opposing force is capable of keeping it closed. You will realize that paths that once demanded extreme effort will now respond with ease. You will notice that environments that previously rejected you are beginning to welcome you. People who previously didn't see your value will begin to see you clearly. What once wore you down will no longer have power over you. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the new cycle manifesting. It's what I promised beginning to take shape before your eyes. What once depended on trying and trying will now depend only on walking. I go ahead, and when I go ahead, you don't fight for the doors, you simply walk through them. I know you've become accustomed to imagining that everything in life requires hard work, sweat, and persistence. I know experience has led you to believe that nothing is easy. You've learned to expect everything to demand struggle. And because of that, when life began to flow smoothly, you were suspicious. When something seemed too simple, you thought it wasn't for you. But this time is different. I am teaching you to live in rest, not in constant resistance. What is yours will not be taken away. What I have prepared for you will come naturally. I am moving internal and external doors. Internal doors are thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that needed realignment so you could have courage and clarity. External doors are opportunities, connections, invitations, and access that were withheld because it wasn't the right time yet. Now it is. Now everything starts moving in your favor. You won't need to beg for approval. You won't need to force conversations. You won't need to plead for space. I am opening doors before you because I've decided it's time for you to move forward. You will feel it in the details, in unexpected messages, in seemingly casual encounters that become answers, in paths that once seemed confusing and now become clear. You will realize that the environment begins to cooperate with you. What once caused wear and tear begins to generate growth. What once closed opportunities begins to transform into announcements of new seasons. Do not be afraid when you feel the lightness emerging. It is not a deception. It is a sign that I am guiding you. And even when you don't see open doors immediately, have faith. The opening begins before the movement. Sometimes the door is unlocked, but you haven't reached it yet. Sometimes it's open, but you haven't realized you can already walk through. That's why I tell you, don't walk with fear. Walk with faith. The door that is yours will never demand despair. It will open the exact moment your feet reach it. I am guiding you to environments that previously didn't fit into your story, but now your story fits into them. I am taking you to experiences you couldn't handle before. But now you are ready. I am moving people who will help you without you needing to diminish yourself or justify yourself. When I open doors, I also prepare the hearts that will be on the other side. You are entering a phase where doors will respond to my command, not to your effort. Walk knowing this. Walk knowing that what is yours will not be denied. Walk knowing that what I open, no one can close. Walk knowing that I am ahead, and where I am, nothing remains locked. Walk as one who has already won. Don't wait to feel ready to move forward. Move forward because I have already declared that you are ready. The victory I am releasing over your life is not a distant promise. It is a spiritual reality that already exists before you even realize it. I did not call you to walk as someone trying to deserve something, but as someone who has already received it. The posture of your heart needs to accompany the new cycle I have begun to release. You are no longer in the time of survival. You are entering the time of fulfillment. I know that for a long time you've developed the habit of expecting the worst, of preparing for losses, of distrusting anything that seemed too good to be true. This was a result of the wounds you carried, the disappointments you accumulated, the times you were frustrated when you believed you were close to something important. But that time is over. I am removing from your shoulders the weight of living in a state of permanent alert, because there is no hidden threat on the path I have prepared for you. What I open, no one can close. What I uphold, no one can tear down. What I determine, no one can cancel. You don't need to walk hunched over in fear of repeating past mistakes. The past has no authority over what I am building now. Walk with your head held high, not because you are confident, but because I am confident in you. Walk with firm steps, not because you know everything, but because I prepare the ground beneath your feet. Walk with confidence, not because everything seems safe, but because I am your security. Your posture reveals what you believe in, and I tell you, believe in what I have already declared about you. To walk as one who has already won means to see challenges not as threats, but as scenarios where my presence manifests. It means not running away from what frightens you, but realizing that my hand will be before you even before you take the first step. It means not allowing doubt to be louder than the promise. When you assume a victorious posture, you attract what is aligned with it. The spiritual world responds to how you position yourself. Therefore, stop waiting for validation from others to move forward. Stop diminishing yourself to fit into spaces that were not built for the greatness I have placed within you. You are not winning because you feel strong. You are winning because I am with you. I have given you the authority to break patterns that have kept you limited. I have given you the sensitivity to perceive paths that others ignore. I have given you the resilience to withstand storms that would have brought down many. And now I give you a new spiritual name, Victor. Not because you have won a battle, but because you are living under the decree of my spirit. Victory is not something you chase. Victory is something you already carry. You will notice that when you begin to move as someone who has already won, environments will change before you. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will recognize who you are. What once seemed impossible will be just another scenario where my hand will guide you. The victory I deliver to you is not temporary. It is not emotional. It is not illusory. It is rooted in reality. It is structural. It is truth. And now I tell you, do not walk as one who asks permission to exist. Walk as one who has been sent. Do not walk as one who tries to prove worth. Walk as one who already carries worth. Do not walk as one who fears losing. Walk as one who knows that what comes from me is not lost. To solidify this attitude within yourself, like this video as a sign that you choose to walk towards the victory that I have already decreed. Walk like someone who has already won, because that's exactly what you are. You are not what they said about you. You are not what they judged, what they labeled, what they hastily concluded when they didn't know the story you carried inside. You are not the name that pain gave you. You are not the label someone placed on you in a moment of anger, contempt, or misunderstanding. You are not the sum of your mistakes, nor the result of your failures, nor the shadow of the rejections you faced. You are my beloved child, chosen by me even before you understood what it meant to be loved. I formed you with intention, with beauty, with purpose. I saw you first. I defined you first. And no contrary word carries more weight than what I have declared about you. I know the scars you carry. I know the comments that hurt you, the comparisons that diminished your worth, the demands that made you believe you would never be enough. I know the disapproving looks you received from those who never saw your essence. I know the attempts to mold yourself to fit expectations that were never yours. And I know how much that wore down your heart. But today I tell you, none of those voices have authority over your identity. The only voice that defines who you are is mine. And I say that you are loved. You were not created to live under the weight of others' opinions. You were not made to carry guilt that is not yours. You were not molded to live shrinking, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of disappointing, afraid of existing fully. I created you with inner freedom, with your own brilliance, with gifts that no one can replicate. What I placed in you, no one can take away. What I wrote about you, no one can erase. You do not exist to justify yourself. You exist to reflect what I placed in you from the beginning. I saw every time you believed you were less than you truly are. I saw when words spoken by hurtful people hurt you too. I saw when you compared yourself, when you felt small, when you believed others were more worthy, more capable, or more important. I saw when you internalized lies that accompanied you for years. But now, in my spirit, I am undoing those constructs. I am removing the weight of those cursed words. I am erasing the labels that don't belong to you. I am healing the wound of unjust judgments. What you've lived through doesn't determine who you are. The pain you've endured doesn't define your identity. The abandonment you felt doesn't reveal your worth. The people who didn't stay weren't responsible for validating your existence. I am. I always have been. From your first day, I called you mine. When you couldn't even speak, I already declared my love for you. When you weren't even self-aware, I already saw you with eternal affection. Nothing has changed that. Nothing can change that. I want you to understand that identity is not born from what you do, nor from what you achieve, nor from what others recognize. Identity is born from my love. That is what sustains you. That is what sets you apart. That is what gives you the strength to go on. When you begin to see yourself as I see you, that which diminished you loses its power. That which held you back dissolves. That which shamed you ceases to define you. You are not small. You are not broken. You are not insufficient. You are my beloved child, and that will never change. I clothed you with dignity. I clothed you with purpose. I clothed you with inner beauty that goes far beyond what the world calls value. I gave you voice, sensitivity, strength, resilience, compassion, depth. You were created with divine intention. And today I remind you, no one can steal what I have placed within you. So that this truth may reach others who also carry labels that are not theirs, share this message with someone who needs to be reminded that they are my beloved child. Now go forth. Walk knowing that you are seen, known, and deeply loved. That is how I have defined you, and that is how I will always see you. I restore your dignity and your worth. Nothing you have experienced has been able to erase what I have placed within you. The situations that tried to diminish you could not undo the identity I established. The words that hurt you have no authority to define who you are. I know you have gone through moments when you felt your dignity had been ripped away, as if you had lost something essential to your own essence. I know there were situations where you felt small, ashamed, dull, weak, voiceless. But today I tell you, I am returning everything that was taken away and returning it in a multiplied way. Nothing will be lost. Many times you believed your worth lay in the hands of those who rejected you. When they treated you as if you were disposable, it struck directly at your heart. When they ignored you, you concluded you weren't important. When they compared you, you believed you weren't enough. And when they betrayed you, you thought it was easy to replace you. But these conclusions were born of pain, not truth. The truth is that your dignity has always been guarded in me, not in others. What they said, did, or failed to do never had the power to diminish what I created. Today, I bend down to you to undo the layers of shame that have been imposed upon your soul. I lift the weight of the expectations you tried to carry in order to be accepted. I remove the feeling of inadequacy that has accompanied you for so many years. I heal the emotional memory of the situations that made you believe you were worth less than you truly are. You are not a fragment of what happened to you. You are not a shadow of past mistakes. You are not an echo of the rejection you received. You are someone who carries dignity because it comes from me, and I do not take away what I grant. I restore the way you see yourself. I restore the way you position yourself. You will no longer walk around emotionally bent over, trying to prove your worth to be recognized. You will no longer hide in fear of not being good enough. You will no longer accept crumbs, thinking you don't deserve the best. What I have for you is honor, dignified treatment, spiritual recognition. And this restoration begins in your spirit, moves to your mind, and then takes shape in your life. You will once again feel proud of who you are. You will once again hold your head high with confidence. You will once again look at yourself with affection and not with judgment. You will once again realize that there is nothing wrong with you, that you lack nothing, that you are not broken, defective, or inferior to others. You are being restored. You are being rebuilt. You are being returned to the emotional and spiritual place from which you should never have left. I return to you the light that was extinguished. I return the courage that was stolen. I return the confidence that was destroyed. I return the dignity that they tried to take away with harsh words, unfair behavior, and situations that hurt you undeservedly. And I return all of this with double the force, because what I restore never comes back halfway. To seal this restoration that I am carrying out, I as a sign that you choose to remain in the process of healing and dignity that I am releasing into your life. Now walk, knowing that your worth is immutable, eternal, and born from my love for you. It is this truth that will sustain every step of your new time. You will begin to see yourself as I see you, not through the distorted lens of pain, nor through the filters of rejection, nor through the memories that tried to convince you that you were too small for the plans I placed within you. I will open your spiritual eyes so that you may perceive who you truly are. Someone who was formed with intention, marked by purpose, and sustained by my love. You have spent many years looking at yourself through old wounds, as if each painful experience had left a permanent shadow over your identity. But now, I say, I am dispelling those shadows, and you will see beauty where you once saw flaws, strength where you once saw weakness, worth where you once saw lack. You don't realize it yet, but your heart is already being adjusted to recognize the greatness I planted within you. For a long time, you were accustomed to diminishing yourself, doubting your own abilities, believing you needed to prove your worth to be accepted. But this perspective stemmed from a time when you didn't yet understand who you were to me. Now I am reframing how you interpret your own stories. I am illuminating inner areas where insecurity grew and where comparison stole your joy. I am cleaning the emotional lens that made you see only what was missing and not what existed. When you begin to see yourself through my eyes, you will notice that many of the limitations you believed you carried never came from me. They were echoes of cursed words, marks of relationships that did not value you, conclusions drawn in moments of fragility. But none of these versions of yourself survive the truth I am revealing now. You will realize that you are more capable than you imagined, more resilient than you believed, and more beautiful than you were able to perceive. Your history did not deform you, it deepened you. And this depth will now become a source of clarity. I will change the way you speak to yourself. That inner voice that once criticized you will be replaced by my voice, affirming you. The weight of feeling inadequate will be broken. The feeling of not being good enough will cease to dominate your thoughts. The shame that tried to paralyze you will lose its power. You will learn to treat yourself with kindness, with respect, with honor, because you will begin to feel within yourself the honor that I placed there from the beginning. You will see that there is nothing wrong with you, that there never was, and that every part of you has a purpose. And as your vision of yourself changes, your posture will also change. you will stop hiding. You will stop retreating when you feel insecure. You will stop remaining silent when you have something important to offer. You will begin to walk with confidence, not based on achievements, but based on the certainty that I called you. The way you see yourself determines how far you allow me to take you. And now, I am removing everything that prevented your own perception from flourishing. You will feel lighter. You will realize that situations that once deeply affected you will no longer have the same power. You will understand that you don't need to compete to be seen, because I already see you. You will discover that you don't need to prove anything, because I have already validated everything. You will notice that your essence is not broken, but rather being revealed more clearly each day. When you begin to see yourself as I see you, you will understand why I have prepared so much, healed so much, protected so much. Because there is something great inside you that was waiting for the right moment to emerge. And that moment has arrived. I am teaching you to look at yourself with the same truth that I have always seen. The truth that you are loved, capable, precious, and destined to live what I have written for you from the beginning. Give your heart completely to me. I know how hard you tried to be strong for so long, holding on when everything seemed to slip out of your hands. I know the effort it took to maintain control over situations that consumed you, relationships that drained your peace, thoughts that repeated themselves like a constant weight on your mind. You believed that if you let go, everything would crumble. You thought that if you stopped carrying it alone, no one else would do it for you. But today, I tell you, you were not called to carry the world on your shoulders. There are things that belong to me, not to you. There are battles I never wanted you to fight alone. There are burdens I always wanted to lighten, but you still tried to bear them because you thought you needed to show strength. My children don't need to prove strength. They only need to trust. I see how your heart closed itself off at times to protect itself. I see how you built walls to avoid being hurt again. I see how you kept your feelings bottled up, hiding deep pain so that no one would notice the intensity of your struggle. But I also see the weariness behind it, the exhaustion of trying to control what is beyond your reach, the anxiety of imagining scenarios that will never happen, the guilt of feeling weak, as if weakness were a failure. But weakness is not a failure. Weakness is space for my strength to enter. It is the moment you recognize that you can no longer do it alone that I can do what I always planned to do. Guide you with my hand, not with the weight of your worries. To surrender your heart completely to me means letting go of the need for immediate answers. It means trusting even when you don't understand. It means taking a deep breath and allowing me to be God in your life. It means letting go of control without fear, knowing that my hands are safer than any plan you could ever build. I don't ask for your surrender to weaken you. I ask for your surrender to strengthen you. While you hold on tightly, you are fighting alone. When you surrender, I take on what you never had the capacity to carry. There are pains you've kept so deep that they seem like part of your identity, but they aren't. There are fears you've cultivated for so long that they seemed normal, but they aren't. There are memories that still govern your decisions, but that I wish to heal. There are wounds you hide so you don't feel them again, but that I want to touch to restore. None of this can be transformed while you keep your heart closed. Therefore, I ask you, surrender. Not out of obligation, but because it is the only path to the true freedom I have prepared for you. I know you fear losing when you surrender. You believe that if you don't watch everything, something will go wrong. But I am your guardian. I am the one who watches over your lying down and your rising up. I am the one who guards your steps, even when you are distracted. Surrendering doesn't mean abandoning responsibility. Surrendering means stopping fighting where I have already fought for you. It means not wasting energy trying to control what I have already resolved in the invisible. Your heart was not created to live in a permanent state of tension. It was created to rest in me. You tried to carry memories that crushed you. You tried to sustain relationships that were no longer sustainable. You tried to hold on to places I had already asked you to let go of. You tried to solve problems that only time and my hand could transform. And this tired you, exhausted you, drained layers of your soul. Today, I tell you, stop trying to be the savior of everything. I am your savior. Let me be the one who cares, who heals, who guides, who opens and closes doors. Surrender what silently destroys you. Surrender what steals your peace. Surrender what weighs on your chest before sleep. Surrender what you cannot control, because that is the boundary where my intervention begins. You can't imagine how your life will change when you finally let go. When you stop reliving old scenes. When you stop expecting the same pains to repeat themselves. When you stop protecting yourself so much that you can't even see inside yourself. When you trust that my love never fails and that nothing I do is intended to hurt you. I don't ask you to surrender so that I can take something away from you. I ask you to surrender so that I can put something much greater in its place. The whole process begins with opening your hands. And I tell you, your heart is too precious to remain trapped in the same wounds. You were born to breathe lightness, to live healing, to walk without fear, to trust without reservation. I am ready to make this happen, but I need your heart to allow me in. As an act of surrender and trust, comment now with something you choose to entrust to my care. I receive what you give, and everything that comes into my hands is transformed. Nothing I took away was loss, it was protection. I know that when certain things left your life, it hurt. I saw when you tried to understand, when you searched for answers, when you questioned if you had done something wrong. I saw when you believed you were being punished, when you thought what you lost was essential, when you imagined you would never have something so good again. But today I tell you, what left didn't leave because it lacked value, but because it lacked purpose for what I am preparing now. I never remove something from your path without first ensuring that it wouldn't support the future I have written for you. There are situations you called failure, but I called deliverance. People you wanted to keep, but who, if they remained, would drain your peace. Paths you wanted to follow, but which would lead you to storms that would break your emotional structure. Dreams you insisted on holding on to, but which would become prisons disguised as achievements. I took them away because I love you. I took them away because I saw what you didn't see. I took them away because I know where each choice would lead you. I took them away because your life has a destiny, and destiny is not negotiable with the pain of the past. I removed doors you tried to force open, not to frustrate you, but to prevent you from entering places that would silently hurt you. I took away opportunities that seemed good, but that stank inside. I removed people who pretended to be friends, but harbored hidden intentions. I removed relationships that emotionally trapped you in cycles of guilt, insecurity, and exhaustion. I removed burdens you were no longer able to carry. I removed expectations that didn't originate from me, but from the pressures of the world around you. I know you've often wondered if it would have been better if certain things had remained. But today I show you, what I removed will make room for what will truly make you flourish. You still don't understand, because you only saw the moment of removal, but I saw what would happen later. I saw what would destroy you. I saw what would hold you back. I saw what would divert you from your purpose. That's why I removed it. And the removal was my care, not my absence. There are things that seemed like blessings but were traps. There are people who seemed like love but were disguised wear and tear. There are paths that seemed like promises but were shortcuts that stole your peace. You looked back and thought you lost a lot, but I tell you, you were preserved. Life didn't take anything from you. I protected you. Time didn't disappoint you. I guarded you. The world didn't rob you. I freed you. The losses you mourned will be recognized as deliverances when you see what I am about to place in your path. And everything I take away intentionally. Never to diminish, always to expand. Never to hurt, always to heal. Never to punish, always to protect. I am the one who sees beforehand, who acts beforehand, who protects even before you perceive the danger. What you thought was crumbling was, in fact, what I was removing from the foundation so that you wouldn't build upon something fragile. You didn't lose. You were spared. Soon, you will understand that what you fought to keep would have destroyed your peace. That what you asked to remain would have diverted you from what I am preparing. That what you didn't want to let go of would prevent you from living what truly belongs to you. When you look to the future that is coming, you will see that it makes no sense to carry the baggage of the past. What has left has made room for the new. And the new that I bring cannot dwell alongside the remnants of what hurt you. Now, I ask you to accept my protection with an open heart. Do not carry any more guilt for what has gone. Do not blame yourself for paths that have closed. Do not grieve for doors that have not reopened. I was in every detail. And everything I removed was to prevent greater harm, to protect your spirit, your mind, your purpose, and your peace. If this truth touches the depths of your heart, enjoy this message as a spiritual gesture of accepting my protection over your life. I don't take things away to weaken you. I take them away to prepare you. And whenever I remove something, I'm already moving what will truly make you grow. I will teach you how to truly rest. Not the rest that merely masks tiredness for a few hours, but the rest that reaches the deepest part of your soul and restores everything that has been worn down over the years. I know well the internal battles you fought in silence, the nights when your body rested, but your mind kept racing, trapped in worries that seemed never-ending. I know the times you tried to shut off your thoughts, but they repeated themselves like an echo, stubbornly refusing to be heard. I know the times you tried to breathe deeply to feel peace, and yet the anxiety returned with even greater force. None of this means you failed. It only means you tried to rest without placing your heart in my hands. True rest doesn't come from control, it comes from trust. And you've spent so much time carrying burdens that weren't yours that your spirit has learned to live in a state of alert, as if it needed to foresee every threat, every possibility of pain, every risk of rejection. I saw your heart trying to anticipate problems so as not to get hurt. I saw you creating strategies to avoid suffering as you have suffered before. I saw you defending yourself even from good things, afraid that if you allowed yourself to relax, everything would crumble again. But I tell you, rest is not danger. Rest is healing. You were not created to live in fear of surrendering to the present moment. You were not created to sleep with a heavy heart. You were not created to walk in apprehension that something bad will happen at any moment. I created you to trust, to rest, to live, knowing that there is a God who does not sleep and who works in your favor even when you see nothing. Peace is available to you, and it does not depend on the end of battles, but on the awareness of my presence in them. I teach you to rest when I show you that there is no burden I cannot carry. You struggle with thoughts that should be surrendered to me. You try to resolve pains that only I can transform. You try to control situations that only I can direct. And this exhausts you. It makes your shoulders heavy, your mind worn down, and your heart become an invisible battlefield. I did not create you to carry alone. I created you to walk with me. True rest is when you surrender what troubles you even before knowing how it will be resolved. It's when you breathe and allow me to take on what is beyond your strength. It's when you understand that you don't need answers today to trust that tomorrow is in my hands. I don't ask you to ignore your emotions, but I ask you not to let them govern your life. I teach you to rest by showing you that you are not responsible for sustaining what only I can sustain. I know that trusting seems difficult when you've already experienced so many losses, so many disappointments, so many broken promises at the hands of humans. I know it's hard to relax when your heart carries memories of a day when everything crumbled just when you thought you were safe. But I want to remind you, I am not like those who hurt you. I am not like those who abandoned you. I am not like those who promised and didn't keep their promises. My love never fails. My word never falls to the ground. My presence never withdraws when you need it. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are in my hands. True rest is ceasing to relive old conversations, past situations, mistakes that have already been forgiven. It's letting go of what can no longer be changed. It's accepting that I am guiding your story perfectly, even when you don't realize it. You've spent too much energy trying to understand everything, trying to predict the future, trying to decipher my plans ahead of time. But I tell you, the revelation comes at the right pace. The solution arrives at the right time. The door opens at the exact moment. Your rest begins when you accept that you don't need to run ahead of me. I bring you peace when I remove the fear that awakens before you, when I cleanse memories that still hurt, when I restore color to inner places that have been extinguished by deep disappointments, when I take away from your heart the feeling of constant vigilance. I bring you peace when I embrace you from within, when I envelop you with my peace that surpasses all logic, when I make you feel safe on days that previously seemed threatening. And there is something even deeper that I want to teach you. Resting is not stopping. It is trusting while walking. It is living in motion without living in tension. It is moving forward, knowing that the ground is being placed by me as your feet move. It is letting life flow without fearing that it will demand more from you than it can give. It is freeing the heart from the need to anticipate every detail. You don't need to control to be safe. You need to trust. You will realize that the rest I give is so transformative that even your body will begin to react. Your sleep will be more peaceful. Your mind will feel lighter. Your chest will no longer feel tight. Your thoughts will stop racing. Your soul will find a rhythm that seemed impossible a few months ago. The rest I give is not momentary. It is fundamental. It prepares you for what is coming. It strengthens you for the opportunities of the new cycle. It stabilizes you so that you don't get lost in the rush, nor wear yourself out in fear. And I tell you, you will learn to rest even in transitions, even in uncertainties, even in silences. Because rest does not depend on what you see, but on whom you know. And you know me. You know that I care. You know that I protect. You know that I do not take something away without preparing something greater. You know that I do not let any tear fall without meaning. When your heart rests in me, everything within you finds its place. Let me then teach you this healing rest. Don't fight it. Don't reject it, thinking you need to be constantly on alert. Just allow it. Allow me to calm your thoughts. Allow me to ease your burdens. Allow me to restore your soul. Rest is my gift to you at this time. A gift that comes to remind you that you don't have to carry alone what has always been my responsibility. I will teach you how to truly rest. And when you learn, you will never again walk as someone burdened, but as someone sustained by eternity.